What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Wiley Show. Listen, you guys, I have been sitting on this case, didn't want to talk about it because it was very gruesome and very disgusting. But because we had a debate with the producers and people was going in behind the scenes about the case, I said, listen, we got to talk about it. I want to shout out to a friend of the show, Armon Wiggins, for going to the courthouse. But David was charged. We talking about this case. Y'all know David, singer and songwriter, was charged with murder after the remains of a teen girl was found in his Tesla. Here's what's next. David was charged with murder in connections with this young woman, a young girl. He had allegedly deleted. But this happened back in September 2025. The body of a 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was discovered in a car registered to him. He was charged with, David was charged with murder in connection with her death. Here allegedly that in the courtroom, that in doing discovery, and they were saying that it's a wiretap. They also was reporting, thank you, Armand. They also was reporting that he had child porn on his computer. Very disturbing, very disgusting. It was he was dismembered. This young woman was dismembered, cut up, and all type of weird stuff happened to the body. Very sad and disturbing. But again, I want to say this: he's innocent to proven guilty, but we believe he's guilty. Okay. The evidence is overwhelmingly, and that's the evidence that we're hearing. We're hearing about a wiretap. We're hearing that it's a lot of child porn on it as well. We also hearing about that the arrest come months after Rivas' body was found in his impounded Tesla, where her date of death is listed September 8, 2025. Her cause of death was deferred per the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner. When David was charged, District Attorney Nathan also alleged that the singer had been under active investigation for abusing Rivas at her time of her death. David's attorney Blair and Maryland and Regina said in a statement shared with People, let us be clear, the actual evidence in this case will show that David did not murder and he was not the cause of her death. Here's everything you need to know, David, in the investigations to the body found in his car. David is a singer with a viral hits on TikTok. David was a video game content creator before he began pursuing music. In 2022, he released the singles Here With Me and A Romantic Homicide, which both went viral on TikTok. And that's kind of weird. Romantic Homicide. They're going to be using them lyrics, and I'm going to definitely look into those lyrics. Over the next 3 years, he released 2 EPs, performed an opening act for SZA, and won 2 BMI Pop Awards. After releasing his debut album, he embarked on a worldwide tour. He performed several venues across the U.S. in August and September of 2025, with schedules to tour Europe. Through those concerts were removed from venue websites. The body was discovered impounded Tesla in September 2025. Again, this is real. This is, and yeah, her eye is missing. They said this visceral on the hand. Why these men are attacking women? Because they're weird and they're sick. And I'm not even going to even talk about, oh, it's mental illness. No, it's evil people. And it's so sad. This was a young girl. And it's so sad that this young girl who family don't speak English, she's gone. And it's an impounded vehicle. Now, when I'm trying to say impounded means that they told her they put it impounded, they found the body in there. Now, I was under the impression that, they pulled them over and they smelled the body and stuff like that. But this is saying it was impounded. Y'all correct me wrong in the comments. I'm reading your comments. If you guys have something to say, I will drop the link and let y'all come on and talk about it, because I know y'all got a lot of stuff to say about this. But in the court, you go back to court in May, but they're saying it's a lot of child porn in the and on the devices. So this is weird. So I believe he's guilty. With that entails, like, he's definitely guilty. LAPD officer responded to a call around 12:30 p.m. that day and discovered human remains in the trunk of a car Park on North Mansville Avenue. Authorities later told the Los Angeles Times that they estimated the body was placed in the trunk of the car about 5 days before it was impounded from a neighborhood in Hollywood Hills. Investigators found the body dismembered, wrapped in multiple bags, according to a petition for attendance of an out-of-state witness filed by the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. Shortly after they found the remains, authorities identified the car was registered David of Hempstead, Texas. Police later identified the body as Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Wow, she must be Hispanic. Over 1 week after authorities discovered the body, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner identified the remains of those of the 14-year-old Rivas Peoples confirmed. They listed her date of death, September 8, 2025, and wrote that her case of death had not been made public after police sealed the autopsy findings. The Riverside County Sheriff Office told NBC News that Rivas was the juvenile who was reported missing from Lake. Okay, she was reported missing. So the office further told the Los Angeles Times that she was first reported missing on April 5th, 2024. Wow, 1 year before she was missing and murdered. Oh my gosh. The medical examiner office told NBC News that Rivas was wearing a two-top black leggings, a yellow bracelet, and stud earrings. David and Rivas had similar tattoos. The medical examiner identified Rivas as having a tattoo that read "shh" on her right index finger. This is sick. Whew. Why would you do this to a young girl? Meanwhile, a photo of David from September 2024 showing him having a "shh" tattoo on his right index fingers. Neither David nor the authorities have addressed the similar ink. David was on tour when Rivas' body was found. You on tour singing after you didn't deleted somebody. Sure. They performed this during 2024. Okay, I see right there. As news of remains began found broke in September 25, Dave was in the midst of his world tour in North America. He was continuing performing for Minneapolis on September 9th to Portland, Oregon on September 15th. However, he canceled his show in Seattle that was scheduled to take place September 16th. David did not share a statement on the cancellation at the time. The rest of the tour dates, including those in Europe, was subsequently taken off venue websites. David was fully cooperating with authorities. Dave was not publicly commented on the investigation or Rivas' death. Okay, so I'm going to give my thoughts. I'm going to just read this article and I'm going to give my full thoughts on this. However, a spokesperson for the singer told NBC Los Angeles on September 16, David has been informed about what happened, and although he is still out on tour, he's fully cooperated with authorities. In April 2026, an LAPD source told people that that wasn't the case, however, alleging that David had not been cooperative in the investigation. David was arrested and charged in April 2026. In November 2025, a police source confirmed to people that David has been identified as a suspect. The insider also told people that investigators believe that David allegedly most likely had help dismembering and disposing of the body. Yeah, he had some help, clearly. The source also said the investigation was being treated like a homicide and Rivas' body was decomposing when it was found in a plastic bag. And she likely been dead for weeks. David was arrested on April 16th. The case is expected to be presented to the Major Crimes Division, at which point prosecutors will review the facts, evidence to determine whether there is significant evidence to file charges. The Los Angeles District Attorney told people in a statement on April 20th, announced that David was charged with first-degree murder with the special circumstance of lying in wait, committing the crime for financial gain, and murdering a witness to an investigation per a press release. The prosecutor alleged that David killed Rivas on April 23, 2025, after he was being investigated for committing an S acts against Rivas. She was under the age of 14. He accused David of murdering Rivas to maintain his very lucrative music career. And Rivas was threatening on was threatening on that particular night after he allegedly dismembered her body. The criminal complaint also included special circumstances, allegations of murder of a witness, murder of financial gain, and lying in wait, as well as a special allegation that Burke personally used a deadly and dangerous weapon and sharp instrument to commit the crime. He confirmed a horrific and gruesome murder committed by the charged as predator is shocking and appalling to Rivas' loved ones. We will get justice you will seek and deserve. David pleaded not guilty to the murder charge on April 20th. They said he's denied bail. If convicted, he could face the death penalty or life in state prison without the possibility of parole. Let's be clear, the actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke did not murder Rivas Hernandez. He was not the cause of her death, David attorney said in a previous statement. Now, in the courtroom, Armon was in the courtroom, and he was saying that they had a wiretap, and they also have found so much child porn on his device. So we don't know what's on the wiretap, but it was a wiretap. This is not looking too good. But he was also saying that his attorneys, that David attorneys, is pretty much not prepared. They didn't get all the information from the prosecutor. So we will see how this will go in a preliminary hearing in May and see what all evidence they have. The official cause of death of the 14-year-old, they have been released. Most of the body was discovered inside of front of a truck on the Tesla registered single David. The Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner determined that Rivas Hernandez died from multiple penetration injuries caused by objects with an S and ruled the matter of death a homicide. Authorities said the teen's body was found around 11 a.m. on September 8, 2025 inside the front trunk of a vehicle at a tow yard in Los Angeles. An examination was conducted 2 days later. An official said the cause and matter of death was determined in December 2025, but a court order had previously prevented the filings from being released publicly. After several months, I'm grateful this information can be released, not only to the public, but also to the grieving family. Chief and Medical Examiner, Dr. Adi, said in a statement, and unfathomable they have had to wait this long to learn what happened to their daughter. The transmission of information contained in our findings and reports is essential for empowering the community to make informed changes to effectively reduce fear and allowing the community to take informed action. The release of the findings comes as a high-profile criminal case tied to the teen's death moves forward. A 21-year-old man identified David Anthony Burke, a singer known as David, has been charged with first-degree murder in connection with the case. Prosecutor Laura Brooks invited Rivas Hernandez to his Hollywood Hills home on April 2025. She was last seen alive. Her remains were later discovered in a Tesla registered Burke after a tow yard worker reported a foul odor. Yikes! Brooks had pleaded not guilty and pleaded not guilty. It's scheduled to appear in court later this week. And of course, we told you what they found in court. Let's see if we got any other updates. Okay, that's okay. David Chart. Okay, they say may face the death penalty. Wow, this is why it's so good to be in court, because Armon reports stuff the media not even really talking about. Remains were visually identified Rivas, who mother told TMZ she had a boyfriend named David and that she had been missing for over a year. Burke had been touring in support of his album. Whether at the time Rivas' body was discovered, he continued on a performance September 9th. Oh, wow. So the family knew that she was with that he had a boyfriend named David and she was missing. So I don't think they knew that the person was famous. The romantic homicide single was scheduled to perform on September 16th in Seattle, but the show was canceled just as hours after Rivas' body was identified. On September 18th, LAPD detectives searched through the home rented by Josh Marshall, David's manager. The singer was reported living there based on photos and videos shared earlier this year. The TMZ noted matched the home's interior. During the search, the detective reported sees a computer and several bags of evidence. Burke was arrested last Thursday and held without bond. His attorney and parents have proclaimed his innocent. And that's on the computer they found child porn. This is something. See? People at one point was blaming the parents. You can't really blame the parents because she ran away. They don't speak English. They filed a police report. And sometimes you have people that unfortunately runs away. I've seen a situation. I have a family member that all they do is run away. They run away. I have a nephew that all he does is run away. He comes back. He run away. Comes back. Run away. All that, which is sad. And what can you do once they become a sir? They want to run away. I mean, you can't lock them up. You can't. You can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't throw them in a jail cell. It's very unfortunate when you have with teenager that want to run away, but that doesn't negate the fact she should still be alive. Nobody should be taking her life. But when I'm reading that she witnessed a crime and David took her out, and maybe his manager allegedly probably or someone in that camp probably did something to take that young girl out allegedly. I don't think he did it by himself. When it comes to, I don't think he did it by himself. Armon said he's going to cover the entire trial. I can't wait because it's in LA, so he should cover that entire trial. And he does, like I said, he does an amazing job covering the trial of these of a high profile case. We saw what he could do with Diddy. We saw what he did for the Megan Thee Stallion, and we know what he could do in this case. And that video got almost 100,000 views. Now I should have went live after him, but I had schoolwork to do. That's no excuse. There's no excuse, Wiley. There's no excuse. Because I can't let this case pass me by. I got to definitely dive into it. And my producers was kind of like arguing over this case. And I didn't really dig into it like that. They was going in. Well, Tasha was going in. Jada was going in. I'm like, oh, Lord, whoa. Let me do my research on it. But I will have to say, we can't really blame the parents. I mean, they reported her missing, and some of these kids is fast. They want to leave. They want to, you know what I'm saying? She probably got a man. David's grown, and she probably want to be fast and do all this type of stuff. Go with this predator. Don't want to see your parents and all that. And look what it got her. It got her. Her life is gone. It's ended. He was a predator because, allegedly, because according to Armon Wiggins, he had child porn on his device, which is so sick. Like, what in the world? Why you even go search for that type of material and put that material on your? How these people be getting this material? What? Somebody said they probably got it on. What did y'all did all this material for all that? That's just weird. And I hope his lawyers, now what they would argue, well, that was somebody else that did this. That was his vehicle. He didn't know his vehicle was, he probably reported his vehicle missing. I mean, stolen. Um, he, they could argue that he didn't have nothing to do with this. They could argue some reasonable doubt. Like, they would have to prove like his DNA on the body, or his DNA on a weapon, because I don't even think they found the weapon. They do have a wiretap, so I can understand what how the defense is going to go with this. So much so it's taking forever to download from the hard drive. It says a lot from the hard drive. I'm like, how is he getting all that information? That's crazy. I want to make sure that anybody want to call in and give their thoughts, because I hope I did a good little breakdown of it, and I want to make sure, because the last time we dropped the link, it was a little debate. So hope I did a little decent job. And I opened up the phone line because I think I put it on. Give me a quick little second. Give me a second. Let me see. Um, Somebody had called in earlier, and I had it on do not disturb. But my apologies. Okay, somebody else. Okay, let's see. Hello? Hello? Oh, I don't know if this is working. Okay. Did I get it? Hold on. Okay. Hey, Natasha, you live. Hi.
Hi, Wiley. This is a your shows. You really pumping them out today. But I wanted
Okay.
to say, as far as these people blaming the parents, we have to look at the fact. Oh shoot, Alexa, stop. We have to look at the fact that Savannah Guthrie, who's very wealthy, her mother is still missing. She has all these people looking for her. We can see what happened with the Epstein files. These are white girls and nobody cares about what happened to them. Paris Hilton, her parents put her in a place because she had been running away and they were trying to help her and get her off the streets. And the Hiltons are very wealthy. Well, they sent her to a place and she got sexually assaulted. So we cannot forget that a lot of these police officers, attorneys, and doctors, and everybody else are in on this, that they are also predators and prey on children and everybody else. So
So
it's
you think the
really
manager,
terrible.
you think David manager is involved in this?
Oh, yeah. I think there's several people, his bodyguard, his friends, a lot of people, because even one of his friends that they had, the guy Neo, he knew he knew Celeste. There's videos of them together. They had to go get him out of Montana to testify, and all he did was make it about himself. I was military police in the Navy for 20 years, and most of us do not understand this mentality of how these wolves and demons hide among us because we can't relate. But there is people, they find each other. Like how he got all those pictures on his phone and this and that. Those networks of those demons, they all find each other and they give each other tips. They pass pictures around. So it
Because
unfortunately
somebody
it's
asked
not
a
hard.
question, how did they meet? They could meet on social media. I mean, social
They
media.
They met on social media. And he also was showed, had gone to her school before passing out money. So, he does that kind of thing, and that's manipulating in the kids. They like him. So the kids at the school aren't going to tell on him and tell people where Celeste is. And remember, when he met that girl, she was 12 years old, and he met her on social media. And as we have seen, a lot of these social media people have turned out to be predators. We've seen that happen a lot because it's just this is a buffet. If you get a little fame on social media, that's a buffet to find people to prey on.
That's sad. I think she was a fan because he was a streamer. I did see that he was a
Hmm.
streamer turning there. Um, it's so. Do you think he have a case to get off? Because correct me if I'm wrong. His car was impounded. Where was the car at? His
It was parked in the neighborhood
oh,
where
parked in
he
the
where he had lived, but the reason it got impounded was because the neighbors complained that the car had been parked in the same spot for such a long time and was stinking.
oh, that's and they told it.
Yeah, and then when they towed it, the tow people were like, "Oh no, this is a body in here."
Wow. Mm.
And that poor child Celeste, when they found her, she was 15, but he killed her when she was 14 because they found her body in that trunk not too long after her 15th birthday.
I get what people is because I was when I first heard the story. Natasha, to be honest, I thought it was the police pulled them over and they just found a dead body in the trunk. That's what I thought. And then when I was reading, I was like, "What? It was impounded? Like what? Like the smell? Like that mean that body was in there for a while."
Yeah, and this a Tesla. So who just abandons a Tesla?
Yeah, especially who in bed and say I can understand if it was like a Camry or a Hyundai or a Chevy Ford. But a Tesla, like, come on. And then,
And his manager, the house that he was renting out, his manager was paying for that. I think the house, they said it was a mansion. It was expensive. It was like $40,000 a month or something. And the people had been on the stream complaining about, because I guess her body was probably in the house before he put it in the trunk, because people had come in his house complaining, and it showed on the stream. They were like, "What's that smell?" And he was saying it was the plumbing.
oh wow. So it could be that she was even dead then, that the body was there. He must have removed the body from the home, allegedly.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And they also think that he might have passed her around to his friends and to his bodyguard.
So that means it's like a cult of offenders, those sex offenders.
Because they all hang out with each other, and they all know each other, and they all cover for each other.
It's it's and for him to be so young, predators come in all shapes and forms and ages. You know, because people think, oh, you need to be old to be able. No, you could be young and doing that as well. He's a young man, but he's a predator, and for her to be missing, she was missing for a long time. So her family didn't see her for like what, 2 years.
They saw her off and on, and then like she'd run away. Sometimes her cousins would hide her out. She'd go back home. It was, she was having problems at home. But you have to think, like, a lot of us, we think back, when we would try to run away, and you could just go to your friend's house or your grandma's house, and everybody knew where you were. But she had a wealthy man who was taking her all over the country
Mm.
to hide out. So it's a lot easier. And, I worked in, law enforcement. And, once you leave the city lines, even if you are in the city, there's just not the resources out there to look for somebody. And like I said, we think, we
And
see
she
they're not
and
even
she
looking for rich white girls either. So they
and they
start
not pushing like that. Ain't no way they gonna push it uh uh
a
for
Mexican
for
girl in
Mexican.
Yeah, no way.
He had like
Or
a
Lake
weird
Elsinore.
he had like a weird song called Romantic Homicide.
Yes, and he, on her birthday, he did a concert, and he had the dancers bringing out coffins. So they're going to use all of that as evidence, because they had done that. Yeah, he had wrote a song. He did a video with talking about some girl cheating on him, so he killed her. That's what romantic homicide is, and also the blood that he had on his shirt in the videos. They think that was her blood.
And he looks weird. He looks like I'm
It's
just
like, if we're gonna blame parents, we need to blame his parents, because his parents knew he was a weirdo, so he was homeschooled his whole life. That's another reason he's so weird. And his parents also knew that he was messing around with young girls.
and they
And
found
yeah, so
so
it's like, if we're gonna get on people's parents, it needs to be his parents for raising a demon like that.
yeah, he looks like a weirdo. I'm just saying if you just go by looks, I really feel bad that this young girl, they did not do enough to find this young girl
If it
when
hadn't
she ran
been for
away.
the neighbors complaining about the smell, and that the car had just been parked there so long, and it was a wealthy neighborhood, if it had not been for that, it was a possibility her body would never have been found. Because even if it had been in a worse neighborhood, somebody would have stole that car, and torn it up. And maybe her body would, been in a junkyard and never found. So that's nobody was looking for her.
So I want to see somebody say, I work at a juvenile jail, and it used to be just white boys or gay boys in the S offenders pod, but now I'm seeing straight black boys in the S offender pods now. Wow.
It's all this mainstreaming of deviancy. The video games, the look at Euphoria. It's like all these TV shows. It's people so much want to talk about what drag queens are doing and what gay people are doing, but you also need to watch about what's going on with these video games sexualizing everybody and these TV shows like Euphoria. Even though the actors are adults, but the show's about high school kids.
It's just crazy. It's sad almost to see this going on.
Yeah, that's why in my opinion, if you mess with the child, it should just be the death penalty. And then we don't have to worry about you being on the streets and messing things over because there is no rehabilitation.
There is none. I remember I was watching a show called On Parole. It was based out of Indiana, and it was this person. He had to be on the SO list and check in on parole for life. He's on lifetime parole, and he's also on the offenders list. So they was visiting his home, and they said, "Why you got this candy out? You can't have no candy out because they think that could be like attract the kids. You couldn't have access to the internet." And he almost got in trouble because somebody let him get on a computer, and he almost got in trouble, a violation. And one person, you couldn't even have like adult entertainment on your device either. And one guy had it on his phone, had pictures on his phone and stuff like that, and he couldn't have access to the internet. So he got caught up and he got a parole violation. There was another guy that was on. Now this is sick. Well, it could be sick. He's on the SO list and he get married, and he wanted to invite the girl, the woman that he's married, his kids or her kids to the wedding. So he had to get special permission. They allowed it, but I'm like, why would you want to marry a man that's on the SO? Like, okay,
Because a lot of these women are sick. Look at
mm.
Pam Bondi. So, and she's a wealthy person that we know of, and she's sick. There's a lot of Ghislaine Maxwell's out there. Not all of them are as rich as her, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot of women that are sick in the head and they enjoy the suffering of children.
And I know they keep saying I want to know what they did with her eye. I didn't hear reports that the eye was missing. I read some forums that said the eye was missing. I don't think Armon reported that in his video. I don't think he said anything about the eye was missing, but he did say it was a wiretap. And it was like child porn on the device. Say it.
And some of these things are ritualistic. So that's the other thing we have to understand. I remember back in the 80s when they had the satanic panic. But now we see a lot of that those people were saying was true about these people doing weird rituals and occult type of behavior.
And then I always wonder, like, who taught him to do this behavior? He had to learn this from somewhere.
He could just be born bad.
Okay,
But
yeah, sure.
I mean, he could just be born bad, but also too, there's something wrong with his parents. So they just probably all just bad people. They just probably all bad.
Mm. So what
Hopefully
you're
none of
saying?
them procreate anymore.
It's just like it's just it's. I'm really sad that this young girl is gone, but that'll just tell you how the system don't care about black and brown.
They don't even care about
Her.
white people anymore. We still haven't found Savannah Guthrie's mother.
I don't think we would ever find her. Mm-mm. And that's it. I thought we would have found her because it had a lot of media attention. It had the FBI and this FBI child.
Yeah, they don't care about none of us.
Because back in the day,
They,
she would have been found like with all
mm-hmm.
that attention.
Yeah, she would have, but they ain't finding her.
And I don't think we would ever find her. To be honest, I don't think she's still alive.
Yeah, poor lady and her family. I can't even just somebody would do that to an old lady is horrific.
It's very horrific, and I work with so many people in the elderly community, and just to see you go in their home to kidnap them and do God knows what.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, mm, mm. It was everywhere, did nothing. Yeah, because it's a cold case, and then also you got to understand. I'm gonna say this, and I don't want to say it correctly. I don't want it because the FBI is watching. But the FBI director, according to reports, He like to get turned up.
Hmm. Well, we saw him trying to act like the Olympic team was his friends. He went on taxpayer dollars to go hang out with the hockey team that he does not know those people. And he used our tax dollars to go there and get drunk instead of all these people. And and they're also not, you also see, they also don't care about that other man, CK, that they made such a big deal about and want to put name streets after him and everything else. And now there's things going on about the evidence with his killer, and they don't seem to care about him either. So,
No, it's like this FBI is just really. At one point the FBI was for black people. The FBI have been doing a lot of crazy stuff to black people, but it
yeah,
has been known as one of the best law enforcement agency in the world. It have been
yeah.
promoted like that, and it's have been oh my gosh. But the black folks, we have our own idea of what we believe what the FBI is. But this FBI now is just like I never seen it to
I'd
look at.
rather have, it's worse than top flight security. I would trust top flight security before I would trust Cash Patel with anything.
Yeah, and I don't think Cash Patel, no offense to my brother or brother Patel, I don't think he
He's
have experience and
he doesn't have experience.
in
Nobody
running. Yeah,
that
and I
he
and I
put
think
in
he just
besides
hired
his
him.
secretary.
President Trump hired him because he
He's a
would be
kiss
able to
butt.
control him, and
Exactly.
he won't.
There's
Yeah,
this administration just is the pinnacle of white mediocrity and the celebration of white mediocrity. That's all this is. It's
is
it's
Cash
a
Patel? Is he
humiliation
white?
versus.
Is he white? I thought he was. Or
He's
do he tan?
Indian. He's
Okay.
Indian, but he thinks he's white.
But even if you Indian, if you still have that idea of promoting whiteness, they will hire you.
Exactly. You can, yeah, but then they'll get on you. Did you see what they did to Candace Owens?
Yeah,
What
Candace.
President Trump
I just
did to
saw.
her?
I just saw that picture. I said, "Oh
And
my!"
where is Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson and her white friends coming out against that racist post for her?
They won't do
None of
that.
them.
They're
No,
not.
now she sees how the rest of the black people felt when she talks about us. But
Yeah,
yep, Donald Trump says she uses white men for money. Like
rich white
Melania,
man.
like Melania don't use rich white men for money too.
But this is the thing about Candace on what I think she's so brilliant. She used her voice, and she knew she kind of like messed up with the community because she was going
Mm-hmm.
in Israel, and she switched. She did a beta switch, and so black
Yeah.
folks are starting to like Candace on. And that's what she want to follow it. Because anytime you go against Trump, we are so forgiving as black folks. We will invite Candace Owens to the cookout, and then the media.
I don't think Candace Owens is ever going to get invited to the cookout.
I don't.
If
But
she
I
was
think
married to, if she was a black
if she
man,
was married to a black man, yeah, that'd have been
yeah,
different. That'd have been
but
different. That'd have been different.
yeah.
That'd have been different. But what she did was when her
And if she
media
was a black man, she's she's extremely intelligent, and I'm glad she's
company,
using her voice to go against the maggots. I'm glad she's using her voice for that. But the damage that she got paid to do, that she even says that the other people were paying her to do this damage, and talk bad about black people and everybody else. Well, you know what? There's no, I don't think the black community is ever going to take her back
well, I
because of
think
that, because she did so much damage. It's just like,
I just yeah, you're right. You're right. She did do a lot of damage, but I'm looking at what her business is. Her business is not eating barbecue food. Her business is entertain, get viewership, and her views have been through the roof.
because if she would have been the way she is now forever, she would have done just as well, because she
Yeah,
started
absolutely,
off
I agree. She's very
because she
intelligent.
because she started off being on the left, but then oh gosh, I can't think of his name right now, but he went to jail and he owned this magazine. Shoot, the big fat white guy. I wish I could think of his
Also, a
name right
Brett
now.
Bar.
Yeah, Breitbart, the guy who owned
Brett.
Breitbart. Yeah, he discovered her because of the good, because he liked her journalism. And once they started paying her, because she wasn't getting making that money, shilling for the Democrats and all of that. she started making all that money, and they started paying her to talk bad about other people. And then she went to the Daily Wire, and we know who owns that company, and they really were paying her to do all that. So if she had used her voice for good and didn't get so caught up in that money, see, one of the reasons she can switch over now is because her husband is super wealthy and will have money forever. So that's the other reason she don't worry about getting sued or anything like that, because his family money's not going anywhere, and she got 4 kids with him. So she's
Right.
set.
She's smart. It is, but this is the thing about Trump. I love when he goes in on people. I'm sorry, Natasha. It's just I don't want him going in on me, but when he posted that picture, I'm sorry. I'm like, why would you post that on Candace on? It was
You know
like
what?
a
It's not.
crackhead picture. Okay,
It's
it's not
yeah.
funny.
And well, the other thing, that picture was, she had that picture because she was suing a building that had mold, and she got sick, and that's why she had all them scars around her face. So you know what? In that picture, she was being a fighter because she fought that building and she won.
Yes, but to the outside, it looks like she
To
was
the
on crack.
outside, but the whole point is it's every stereotype of a black person.
Yeah,
So
it is every. It is
I don't feel
stereotype.
sorry for her because she wanted to be over there with them.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it's
When you
like
play with
tokens are going to get spent.
when you play with the if you let the devil drive, if you let the devil ride, he gonna want to drive.
Because that picture, and what makes me mad is none of these white people are sticking up and talking about how racist this is, because that picture is shows what the president thinks of every black woman.
Yeah, and then white folks agree with Trump, even though they don't like
Yeah.
him or somebody, but they agree when it comes to black people.
Yeah, they agree. And it's like all the black veterans, all the black people that have done so much for this country, school teachers, you, this, and that. And it's just spitting on everything, setting on fire everything we've ever done.
I think Trump. This is the thing. I think Trump knows
Of course, he
that
knows he's the
it.
devil.
Yeah, he knows. I think he knows. Like in the mid, even some of these white people that you see them trying to branch away from him publicly because they know they may lose the White House and they may lose the Senate. They may
First
lose
of
the
all,
House.
he was already a he already had no soul to begin with. He was just nothing. So he was perfect for all these people and these Paula Whites and all these other people to push some extra demonic spirits in him to use him for evil. He's just a shell. Who
He's
even knows what that man is?
used as puppet. I just hope that you see how Trump did for his base, his agenda. He pushed an agenda, and he's bold, nor unapologetic. I want a Democrat in office that push an agenda to help the working class, to help bring down rent, and do it bold. Don't give a F. You know what I'm saying? Do
And
stuff the right way and be bold in doing it and don't apologize for it. That's one thing about Trump.
and
Even though he's on the wrong side, he's just bold with it. And,
Well, he's not. He's just a rich boy
yes,
demon liar. Anybody could be like that.
and
I
he
mean, he's
lies.
just, there's plenty. I was a prison guard. I met plenty of inmates just as bold, even much more bolder than him. The only difference is they didn't have wealthy family money behind them.
That's
There's
true.
a whole bunch of Trumps.
And the thing about, and I want to say this is just about Candace Owens. She was very smart of getting a white man with money, having kids, protect the bag, and then also she is a great citizen in this. She's using freedom of speech. This is the only country you can have a tit for tat with the president and still be able to do it the next day.
For now, he's
That's
trying to
the
change
beauty.
that though.
But
But that's
I'm just
but
saying
that's
that's the beauty of this country
Exactly.
that
And
you
he's
can
trying to
go
take
back and
that
forth.
away. That
He is
is the
trying to take
beauty
it
of
away.
this country. But
He is
Trump is
trying to take
trying
it
to
away.
take away all our freedom of speech.
But even Republicans are like, even in Florida, they're telling DeSantis like, "Hey, don't change this map. You can mess it up. It can backfire on us." They're kind of like pulling back on Trump because he's so extreme. Indiana Republicans like, "No, bruh, we're not messing with our maps," because they know it can backfire. I do believe this next election, you especially with the Mexicans, I think they're more energized than the blacks. They find even though they're not gonna vote, like they don't care about voting for black candidate, but I think they're gonna vote blue so strong. It's they're gonna take the House and the Senate. because them Hispanics they got to hit hard, but they needed to understand. Like we've been telling y'all this for years that
Well, I
they
think
don't see it for y'all
Hispanics,
either.
I think Hispanics and like Viv Rami and all these people and Asians too have found out that they're not white. You know, they
They
thought
found out,
all
yeah,
this time that they were white
they found out the hard way. Mhm.
because disliking black people, talking bad about black people does not make you white.
It does not make you white.
And they did not know this, and now they all done found out.
They found out even the people, them people that came out and voted for him, did songs for him,
And got
and they
deported.
finally had got deported. What did the lady say? I will vote for Donald Trump. Baby, they got to the side where her people got deported. She was crying. It was like,
Hmm.
well, what do you
And it
say?
was, and
It
I
was
was laughing.
it was like, and I did laugh and stuff like that. And that's why I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use my voice. I have power in my voice. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, and that's why you have to be more, very, very careful of who you support and stuff like. But that energy was very demonic. I mean, I've dealt with some spiritual battles with that over there on the right side, over there with Trump. It was
I
very demonic.
already, I already told you it was. I mean, not just that I'm the beacon of everything spiritual, but I felt it. And other people you see are feeling it. Even the Pope says it. I mean, yes, I'm Catholic, but he's going after the Pope. And it's like, okay, even the Pope doesn't like him. And other people are coming out and feeling this, that it's a spiritual thing. And I remember when he had those people praying for him, and Paula White was doing all these incantations. I was like, those incantations are not, that was not speaking in tongues. That was not something godly. That was some weirdness that she was doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he changed. His whole look changed. He if you look at him now, even as opposed to 2016, his eyes are dead. There's nothing there. And he was a terrible person to begin with, but now you look at he just looks soulless.
I believe, and hopefully, because any history would tell us that will we vote at a high rate in November with this. I do believe the Hispanics is very energized because I saw how they was voting in Texas. I think they're going to
Hmm.
come out and vote because they're family members. Now they're not going to come and be our allies because they flip
No.
flop. They'll go right back thinking they
Yep.
white and all that type of stuff. But I think in this election and the general, they're going to
You
vote very heavily blue.
you know what, on your earlier show you were talking about, how black people, we don't all come together and won't get a grocery store and everything and work together. And there's actually been laws on the books, and these people still do things behind the scenes where the banks won't give a group of black people loans to start a business together, and they will make it harder for black
And then
people
the
to start
vendors, I
businesses
heard
together.
they said the vendors would be kind of racist and don't want to work with you
Target
and
got
give you crap.
Target made all that money and got famous because they had put all the black vendors in their stores. And then they wanted to kiss up to Donald Trump, and they took all those black vendors out. It's
The
the
sad
first thing they did. Yeah, but a lot of them went on to Costco. And Costco's doing well. They're making money. Costco's suing Trump. But it's, you see how they want to use us, and because you need black people to get lit. If you have black people talking about your products, or you got black people in your store, you get lit, just like the smokehouse barbecue guy, because he was using that old man. That brought business. But then when it came time to give that old man some business, or give him some money, that white man was like, no, and because of the internet, because of people like you who use your platforms to put it out there, look, ain't nobody going back to that business.
No,
Because
and
it's
then
not
now
like the 60s where you could do that. People know. And now when
people,
black people leave and we talk with our dollars, we are going to be able to build and everything again, but it has to be out in the open. And now black people see how they take our grants away, how they take our things away,
oh yeah, they
and how
use
we're
it.
going to have to fight. Just look at when, even though Bill Cosby is a terrible person, but look at when he was trying to buy NBC. Look at when Byron Allen was trying to buy, broadcasting station. Even how they do Tyler Perry.
They still to this day they said he said they give him lowball money and he know how to make it work. They
Mm-hmm.
don't give him the same type of money if he was a white man. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
they don't
true.
like us, and they do things when we try to work together where they will not give us the money. They will not give us the funding. They won't give us the support.
And then you also have people that will argue because I was watching Roland's show. He said if you have good credit, they will give you the money. I forgot his name. If y'all know his name, he wrote a book about capitalism because he said capitalism is a good thing. And he said if you have an 850 credit score, you can go in any bank and get a loan.
But you know what? You have to also think to get an 850 credit score, okay, these people didn't have parents that put a light bill in their name when they were kids, right? Like they had parents that didn't necessarily, where they didn't have to even struggle to go to college and maybe have loans out and this and that. So they start off in a better place to even have good credit.
I agree. And I also believe that lack of education because if your mom don't know anything about credit, if your dad or grandma don't know anything about credit, like right now, I have a mentor and he always tell me read about trust. What if you get $10 million? How would you build your company and leverage it to 100 million? What lawyer would you call? Have
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of, but now being around somebody that is educating me on that, I'm like, oh, okay, let me think about that. Wiley, before you do a show, make sure you get a contract. If you team up with somebody, put it in writing and all that good stuff. Because a lot of things I just did not know, and I've always wondered about how did Oprah get where she's at? Who told her? How did Tyler Perry? And there's so much knowledge out here to understand that. Because again, I'm the first in my generation to think like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? My mom, she just got a real estate license. She's doing real estate right
Good
now.
for her.
But her mom was just, was just a caregiver. It's nothing wrong being a caregiver, was being a caregiver and all that. But she's the first, like, doing something bold and trying to get generational wealth. So we're like the first ones in our generation having those type of conversations.
And thankfully, because of the internet, and hopefully Donald Trump
That's true.
and then won't be able to change this. There's people like you and other black people who can mentor because from your spot where you are, these YouTubes, the social media, you're teaching people things that they might not ever be able to learn. Everybody's learning. And because of that, you don't have to have a mentor in your neighborhood. You can find somebody on the internet who knows something who can tell you
Absolutely.
about generational wealth. Because I
That's
was
true.
very fortunate because my family is not good in money at all, right? They'll spend up everything. But I went to a white school where they taught us how to read the stock papers, like when I was in junior high school. So I learned how to read the papers. I'm the only one in my family who has investments.
Wow. That's very important to know. That's very important to know. And unfortunately, Wiley is a Republican who voted for Trump. Listen, I want to say this because everybody keeps saying, "Oh, I voted for Trump" and stuff like that. If I'm not mistaken, in Nevada, she lost Nevada, correct? Did Kamala Harris carry Nevada?
She no, she but you know what I believe. I believe the muskrat did something. So I don't even believe the results. So I'm not
But my,
going
but
to
my,
ask
but this,
about
but
this.
this is the
And
thing with the.
also when Trump came, bootlicking Lombardo, he didn't even go, he used to be on crawling behind Donald Trump, sniffing his booty 24/7. When Trump came out here this last time, Lombardo didn't even show up.
Yeah, because I think they're everybody trying to distance from that. But I also feel like the Democrats, because Trump never beat a man, he always beat
The,
women. So
the whole
Democrats,
thing with
Democrat,
Trump, yeah, he
I
did.
believe Democrats are more is racist in this regard. They did not want Biden to go another term because they didn't want no black woman, and we
No,
don't want to have that
wait.
conversation.
Let me tell you something though about Biden. Okay, he could have done things when he first got into office that he didn't. You know, we're thinking like, oh, he's so great. No, because Biden is one of them too. Because
Of course
he,
he
on his
is.
first day, he should have done away with the student loans. He used Stacey Abrams to help get him elected on the student loan issue. Then he gets into office, pussyfoots around, doesn't do it.
But he counseled mine. So he didn't counsel
Well,
yours?
no, mine are not canceled. Most of the people I know aren't canceled.
Wow, he counseled mine.
And you got lucky, but a whole bunch of other people's didn't get canceled. And he also, he and Merrill Garland, if they would have done what they were supposed to do, Donald Trump wouldn't have been able to run for president. But they didn't.
That's true.
And
Because Democrat, oh,
also, this is the other thing Joe Biden could have done. There was no sense in Joe Biden staying to the last second in office. In November, when Donald Trump won, Joe Biden should have signed it and let Kamala Harris finish them last months out as president.
I
There
agree.
was no reason for him to not do that. If he
But
Because there was things that
now
he could have put in place that would have stopped Trump from doing the things he did. Not
I
to
agree.
mention he might have had a heart attack just the fact that a black woman was president before him and he might not have even made it.
And then also, yeah, that's true. But Biden is more race. I would argue is more racist than Trump. He's just
I
less
think
subtle.
yeah.
Let's be
I
clear. He didn't. He
they're
look.
all
You
they're
if
all
you
you know what they
if you
all believe, all of them, his racist views. None of them started coming out distancing themselves. It was just some women came out because of the Epstein, because of them files. Some women have come out. But none of the men really came out until it was gas prices got high and another war.
and that's true. But listen, what Kamala Harris said in her book. If you read anybody read her book 107 Days, they was trying to get Biden, pressure Biden to get her off the ticket. Anytime she would have a win, they barely would bring it up in the press briefings. When she getting dragged in the media, they barely brought it up in the press briefing. Now people was dragging the black press secretary, but her boss is the president. If the president
Mm-hmm.
tell her not to defend Kamala Harris, guess what? She can't defend Kamala Harris. But what messed me up with her when she was out of office, oh yes, I did defend her when it came out. No, you didn't. You didn't do enough, and they didn't really use because Kamala Harris was a powerful weapon to use to help the party. And then also,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, unfortunately, because he's selfish. When
Yeah.
he also he waited into the debate. What he should have did was after that debate, I'll resign and like you said, and let Kamala Harris finish the term. But his pride and his ego. And his wife, let's be clear, she didn't fool for Kamala Harris. His wife wasn't going to allow that.
It was it just shows you how black people, we have to remember our power. Our power is in our
That's,
money. Our
that's
power is who we promote. If we promote an entertainer, they're lit. As black people, what we can do that they can never take away from us is not give these people any don't count for any of these people until we see what they do for us.
yeah,
If they're Democrats, if they're independents, if they're another black person, if they're anything, because they use us, they use our musicians, all of this to get something. And then as soon as they get it, they spend the tokens.
yeah, and I agree. And also, yeah, it was yes. John Hope Bryant is the one I was talking about with the final freedom and stuff like that. He said if you have an 850 credit score, you'll get a loan. But if you got like a 500 credit score, it's not racism. You got a bad credit score, I wouldn't give you a loan as a black man. So
It's the education that we need to learn,
it's the lack of and also like yes, so that's why every day I read, I try to not be knowledgeable because I know one day my financial situation will change, and I damn sure don't want to go back and get broke within 1 year or be broke
If
2 years.
it, if you see what the media is attacking, like how they're trying to push the manosphere, they're trying to push the trad wives,
That's
all
that
of this.
media and
And do
all
you
that.
know why? And do you know why those people make so much money? The Shira Sevens and the Andrew Tates and all this? Because the powers that be want us to be backwards. This is the first time in history that you've had this many women educated. this many men with college educations, the internet, easy for us to travel. People now, if you marry somebody, you can start an empire because you don't have to marry somebody in your hometown. You can find somebody who went to college in Europe. And nowadays, the two of you can get married, start businesses, have beautiful children, do everything. But instead, they got people on the internet arguing about going to Cheesecake Factory on a date and coffee dates. Just the most, and girls doing OnlyFans. This is the best time for everybody. And they want to keep all of us dumb, sick, and not voting. All this information they're trying to get rid of. You saw in Florida where they actually burned books. And that's why I've been telling people, make sure you get these hardcover books because they're, the information that's in you see these digital books, and some of the information will be taken out because they don't want it to spread. We are so powerful now, all of us, and we don't need any of these people.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that. I've also I tell parents, you need to educate your children. First of all, y'all need to do a history summit every day, talking about
Mm-hmm.
history, posting, getting portraits of our icons and their ancestors and all of that, and having these conversations with your children at home. Don't just depend on the school to educate your child. That's a grave mistake. And they was even saying because of the internet and because of computers and because of AI that this generation is not keeping up with the previous generation education wise. So
And
it's
makes
a lot
no
of work we got to do.
sense. Yeah, and they doing that purposely for us. That's like how they letting this AI take all our jobs. Kamala Harris was going to do the law where it would take 10 years before they could sprout out like this. But because Trump has all the tech billionaires paying him money, the AI has just come out rapidly, stolen people's jobs, and a good 60% of the time AI is wrong.
Yeah, and then now they were talking about the land of
Oh, the water it's
those
stealing
those centers and taking people land or
and
the
water.
noise, the water, the environment, and all
Mm-hmm.
of that. And that's why it's so important. Then you got the Supreme Court. They doing a quote unquote called the shadow docket and all that. It's a lot of stuff going on that. And Trump knows, Republicans knows, Democrats finally, I would say, have a backbone, and they fight fire with fire. Um,
Democrats are only having a backbone because of the money. What we have to do is get rid of APAC and start trying to get our legislators to put laws in place where these politicians cannot do insider trading, where
Well,
these
that's cool.
politicians
And speaking
cannot.
about insider trading, in Maryland, he passed a law that you cannot use your government job to make deals or investments with using knowledge of your state job or your state, getting information from the state and using that. And so he's trying to get rid of that. But they do need to put laws on that. But the reason why they're not going to put laws like that because Democrats benefit from insider trader
Exactly.
as well as
Hmm.
Republicans. Until more young people that didn't come from wealth, you came from the hood, you was broke, you was hood, you got education, you started running for office. Until it shift, the culture shift in Congress, it will never change because in Congress, it's a lot of people got money and been there for years.
And I think it is going to shift. I think that
It's
the
going to.
maggots made a big mistake because so many people are in pain and young people too. And now everybody's paying attention and
However,
everybody's getting
you
on
see
it.
what happened in Virginia, like all the millions of people
Mm-hmm.
voted for that amendment. That haven't happened like that in a long time. For just
No.
nobody on the ballot, but that's that referendum, like that was like whoa, like yeah, and they know, and Trump knows it. That's why they was trying to pass that bill to make people use their passport, and they trying to change the voting bill and all that. Because he know, like in November, like it's about to go down.
Yeah. And then one of the things the Republicans were saying, the most people that don't have passports are Republican.
As Republicans,
So,
yeah.
so it's, when you do evil,
And Republicans
evil
is
comes.
saying privately, they're not saying in public. They said Trump, no, don't do this. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
hurt us. And then he was saying that like trying to gerrymandering the maps. They said, no, don't do this in Florida. It's going to hurt us. Please don't
Yeah.
do it. Indiana was like, don't bring this over here. He started trashing people in it because they know this can backfire against us.
And also, too, these Republicans have to understand too that what it is you just for the other side to win, you just need your side to not show up to the polls. And there's a lot of these Republicans that probably will never vote for a Democrat, but they also just won't show up to the polls because
And that's what's going to
they
happen.
don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
because and they don't like these men looking weak too. Because they want to put that macho out there, and then they see all their men looking weak and it's bowing down to stupid stuff.
Yeah. And I agree. And that's why I said, we shall see in November how it's going to play out as this trend is going on. People losing their jobs, people losing their SNAP benefits, people losing their Medicaid, people are losing their benefits at a high rate
People don't have enough money to drive to work because of the gas.
in the gas. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
And the
so good.
food, the groceries is outrageous.
It's expensive. Coffee's
I don't
expensive.
I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult for me as a single person to eat. So I don't even know how these people with kids how they're going to cook a meal.
Yeah, it is sad, but I'm so glad that you were able to come on the show and let it be
Thank
known.
you,
Yeah,
Wiley.
we will talk more about this case of this sick, twisted, demented man, David. We will talk more about this case in May, if I'm not mistaken. That's an upcoming court date. We want to say special shout out to Armon for going live on there. And then he also went in against Cardi B fans. So they were saying like, "Oh, you get money from Cardi because you talk about she pay your bills and all that." I'm like, no, like Armon get more viewership talking about true crime episodes. Like that
Hey,
video that he did on David literally got almost 100,000 views. That's
they was
almost triple the amount of views of him talking about Cardi B or Nicki Minaj.
and don't forget to, do your little business plan for that boys chat because that'll be off the
Yeah, that would be
chain.
really. That would be. I'm telling. And what y'all need to do, is say, hey, you need to do a boy chat with Wiley and this person. That y'all need to go to these people, DM them heavily, be like,
I'm
hey, I
gonna do that today.
chat with Wiley with this person, y'all, because that helps. Then it let people know, like in that Armand, know, oh, it's a hunger out there, and of course I'm gonna keep bringing it up. It's a hunger out there, and I'm gonna bring it up to him and propose, like write this business proposal down so he can understand like what I think. What the numbers, how this will happen, and stuff like that. I would love for it to just be like a weekly show, for that because I know we can't commit to like a 5 week because he got to do his show, I got to do my show, but just a weekly show of that and just name some names because then he will have to agree about who and then we would have to talk to the people to get on the platform. But there's so many other people I can name, but I'm not gonna name their names because I reach out to him if he green light say, hey, I would love to do it. How about this person? This is so much. It's so many YouTubers out here. It's thousands, it's millions of YouTubers that would love to have that opportunity to do something like that. And that's talented. They said, please call it often, ma'am. LOL. Yeah, Natasha does real good. I told
Oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that
And again, you
person in
guys,
the chat.
I'm going to vote Democrat this time, or it's going to be blue. The last time I voted for all Republicans except one. Except one, I forgot who I voted. That was Democrat. Child, it was a long time ago when I voted in 2020. But this time it's going to be blue, 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 blue. And I will give you my whole list of people that I'm going to support from county seats, from whatever seats that's going on. I will give you my full endorsement from everywhere who I think you should vote for and why. Dr. Heavily, I'm not going to endorse her because I feel like she don't have no chance of winning. Unfortunately, she don't. I would love to see somebody like her that's already made her money that will go there and do right. But I don't think she have a chance because APAC is supporting um, I can't think of the girl name, not supporting her. So, and they putting a lot of money in that race. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, I'm voting blue. I'm voting blue this time. So, thank you, Natasha, for coming on.
Thank
And
you for having me. Thank you,
and,
chat.
and then I gotta talk about the case in Las Vegas with the two YouTubers. With that situation, that case is gonna come up in the summertime too. So I may have to go back to Vegas to cover that trial because he's going to trial. Y'all know what happened when the two YouTubers on the strip. There was a husband and a wife, and that Mexican or Hispanic deleted them on the strip. You remember that case? Natasha took them
Yes.
out. They talked about it in Vegas like it was wall to wall coverage
Right in front of the Bellagio.
right in front of the Bellagio, and
Because he was jealous that they were getting super chats.
jealous that they get super chat, jealous they was getting views. I'm like, what? And it's not funny, but it's like you didn't delete somebody for that. Like, are you stupid? And then they weren't getting like millions of dollars in super chat. It was, you know how maybe 2 or 3 people, 4 people are super. It wasn't a huge number.
No.
It was because they were all small YouTubers. They wasn't like Tasha K level or Miles Wiggins level, none of that.
But these, YouTube attracts narcissists and unstable people.
Absolutely. But and I get it. God is not your president. God is God. God is no president. God is the Almighty. God is God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God is God. President. The reason why I say we have to support and really take heed to government because they asked Jesus a question. They said, Jesus, should we pay taxes to Caesar? And Jesus said, render to Caesar, Caesar, render to God, God. So right then and there, he said, participate in the government process. You have to participate in it because we hear. I mean, any wise person would. Because and you'll see more church people get more involved if they try to take away that 501c3 protection, and that's all government too. The only reason why churches don't pay or religious institutions don't pay taxes is because of a law. But that could go away any day if a president or if Congress passed a law and the Senate passed, and the president signed into law. That can go away any day, and churches will have to pay taxes. So what
Yeah,
I'm
the
saying,
Mormon church almost lost theirs. That's the reason they allowed black people in, because the Mormon church was going to lose it unless they allowed black people in the
see,
church.
yeah, they said God is over everything. Neither side is for Black America. That's just my opinion. Well, I don't think that's all the way true because if you look at candidates, and I'm gonna do more by promoting candidates. We had candidates been promoting reparations, actually put it on Congress to propose. But if you don't have a president or if you don't have a Senate that's going to do it, and the number, it's all about the numbers. You got to count votes. You got to count votes. And unfortunately, there's not enough people in Congress right now that will support reparations.
We also have to start getting rid of these. There needs to be term limits in Congress. We can't continue to have the Supreme Court judges and Congress people getting carried out on their deathbed.
We
That's
should,
how long
but
they're there.
again, and the reason why Democrats or Republicans are going to do it because they all benefit from that system.
Mm-hmm.
They benefit
Yep.
from it. Republicans did benefit from it, so do Democrats. But I also believe, like, if you in office, just like the Supreme Court, what was her name? Oh my, Ruth. Oh, what was
Ruth
her name?
Bader Ginsburg.
She didn't want to retire, and President Obama said, "I think you need to retire." She refused,
Exactly. Yeah.
and that's why he was able to get 3 people on the Supreme
He would
Court,
have been able to get more, but Mitch McConnell blocked it illegally.
and then Mitch McConnell blocked it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I believe that Republicans they use their power, and let's see how Democrats going to do it and stuff like that. That's why I got to participate more into the political game, and then also too, shout out to the media, even though the media is being bought out by these billionaires. So shout out to independent media like Don Lemon. I think what he does is incredible. I think what what's some other girl that worked where they used to work with MS now. Oh my God, I can't think of her name.
Joy Reid.
Joy
Joy
Reid, shout out
Reid.
to her. Shout out to Roland Martin. So we do have people that's out here fighting and really educating the public and doing what they're supposed to do. And that's why y'all should support them as well. Yes, we talk about gossip, but in this instance, it's a lot of people are waking up. They ain't got no SNAP benefits. A lot of people in New York is sad because next month they're about to lose their vouchers for housing.
They 100,000 veterans' homes went into foreclosure because Donald Trump took off the books the laws that protected veterans from their homes going into foreclosure.
Yeah, and
So the
then in New York,
veterans have been excruciatingly screwed by Donald Trump. And any veteran that voted for that draft dodger, I will never
yeah, and then
forgive
a
you.
lot, and a lot of the white people gonna vote for him because a lot of them are racist. You know what I'm saying? It
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. I think, and then also in New York, they dealing with deed theft. People are stealing people deed. Filing these false claims and getting them evicted and getting them put out. They call it deed theft. So that's something really strong going on in New York. Shout out to the mayor, Mandani, is out there fighting. His team is out there fighting, boy. So it's so much that is going on out there. And of course, I'm gonna do a better job talking about these subjects and on there. So of course, we talked about politics and David. That's Six Cycle. Candace Owens, even though I love her, I love Candace. She's just entertaining, and I love her going back and forth with Trump. I'm gonna have to defend her. No, I'm not gonna defend her. I don't want stuff coming after me. You go right ahead because she already got the president of France. Do you know how bold you had to be to have the president of France suing you? And you see how Trump don't even care with France, but he will use that first lady. He will use that first lady of France as a talking point. I read that, and I'm telling you, Natasha, I know you didn't laugh. I read that post and laughed my butt off. I couldn't believe it.
It's that Bolton man, from Breitbart. He saw the star talent in her. And they, paid her, and she used her star talent to go over there for evil. And it's just all of us have to remember, when you go out to a site, it may look good, but when you speak against your own people, it's never going to work out, because it doesn't matter how good you are in with some other people, you still gonna be a black person.
You
You
still
still
gonna
not
be it,
gonna be one of them.
but I understand being a grifter
Yeah, I understand
because
being a grifter, but when you sell out your own people, you have to face those consequences.
that's what I'm saying. You got to face. It's gonna be consequences. I understand because it's a money game. Because those people, I can sit here and talk against black people, and no white folks just donate money, put on a
Yep.
suit and tie. They do donate. Because even when I was on the strip acting a plump fool,
Mm-hmm.
saying all that stuff, they were super chatting.
Exactly. And when that happens, then though, when something really happens and you got in trouble, you went to jail
They
where they
won't
put
no way
money on your
around that
books.
mandate.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's how they do. Just like with Candace O,
That's
they
what they
talking
do.
about her. Yeah, that's what they do to all of them.
And so I had to learn my lesson and stuff. I knew I have power in my voice and I have to use it for good because you can use your voice for evil too. A lot of again, life and death is in the power of the tongue. That's in the Bible. That's in the Bible. So you can speak life to yourself and you can speak death to yourself. That's why you got to be careful of what you say out of your mouth. Then it also says you reap what you sow. So you have to understand that as well. And I'm reaping for a lot of decisions I made and stuff like that. I'm rebuilding my life, and baby, it is a journey. It's a challenge. It is a work, but I'm going to use my voice for good because a lot of people are suffering. I've had dealt with people that say, "I lost my job while I would donate, but I lost my
Hmm.
job. I'm losing my housing. I lost my SNAP benefits. I lost my Section 8. They really so it's a lot of people losing things, and it's just
Hmm.
it's
I
just
lost things.
it's just sad. It's really sad, man.
And you have to think money isn't everything. When you look at those young girls and they prom videos, they are so happy. They got their friends being their background dancers, all of this. Those girls in the hood going to their prom, they all look way happier than Blue Ivy and Kim Kardashian's kids. All of them. I would rather be one of them girls being happy, their family enjoying them, than Northwest looks miserable every day. Blue Ivy don't never look happy. So money's not everything.
Money's not everything. Money is a very important. It adds for all things is important to have because you have to have money to survive. But I think it's certain amounts can be like, oh wow, because I would love to have a lot of money to do a lot of good. But you also have to be careful with it. And sometimes it's okay. Like if you came from nothing, right? And you got into money and you did it right. I think that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? You're doing it the right way. You understand the that you're using money for good and you're using money to help your community and your family and all of that type of stuff. I just learned that you should set up a trust. Like if you have money and you should set up a trust. This is what wealthy families do. And they put rules and speculation. And somehow I was Googling some stuff today about Michael Jackson kids. Don't after I watched the movie, I'm like, how much money they get? He put rules that at certain age that they won't be able to get the full amount of their inheritance today, like 35 years old. And then once Catherine Jackson, once she passed away, then they get her share of their estate. They give her share of their inheritance. So they would have to split like 80% of it. Because he put so I'm like I'm just learning all this stuff. I mean, they didn't teach me this stuff in school, so a lot of this stuff I'm just learning in my as a 35-year-old man. But it's a reason why you want to read upon this stuff because when that day come, when the money come in this show here, like tomorrow, you just never know. Next week the show can here and start giving you the next month or next. You know what I'm saying? You never know, and I want to be prepared, and I don't want to be that sad story where I was making money now I'm back in the hood. I'm back here with no water, no heat. I don't want that to be my story. So it's very important to get knowledge of what business you're in, understanding money, understanding wealth,
You're
understanding how to
preparing
grow
your mind for wealth.
preparing my mind for. I'm glad you said it. I have to read about a lot of that stuff, and it's good. And I'm surrounded by people that I talk to, and I ask questions, and we have these conversations because I didn't know anything about a trust and all that stuff. So I didn't know. I'm like, wow, really? Okay, yeah, that's good. Meanwhile, billionaires getting richer, and the middle class becoming extinct. United States is going to be in trouble when the middle class go away. That's true, and we're going to be in
Mm-hmm.
trouble too that the oil we it was back in the 70s when we had to buy oil. The countries, everybody in the world had to buy oil using American dollars. That went away, I think, last year or 2 years ago. So now they can use their own currency. They don't have to use American dollars to buy oil, and that's going to affect us too with the American dollar. Now that countries don't have to use
So they
our
don't have to use the petrodollar. It was the petrodollar.
no, it was
They
the
don't have.
American dollar. They had to use
Yeah,
American
but it's called the petrodollar.
Oh,
But
they
it was
call it the
American
peso. Okay.
money. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now they don't have to do that. So now a lot of these countries are using their own currency and having their own deal. You have China working with some countries in Africa and Russia and all that. So it's very important to once you get knowledge, you will know you won't be as shocked. Like, oh my God, you'll be more prepared on how to prepare yourself for that wave that is coming. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good episode. I have to do this. I go back to school. I think Tuesday is they reset. You know when you do online, you have to do you have to do discussion boards and all that. That's pretty much about week one. So I have to see what we have to do week two. But I say I have to do these lives because I can't neglect YouTube because this is like my job. They said correct. The American Standard is no longer okay. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no longer. It's no longer. Yeah. And we didn't even know about that deal until what? Man,
Recently, they just
recently.
talked about it like a couple weeks ago, and Trump had done it, and Trump had started it trying to do it back in 2016, and we
He
didn't
tried
even
and
know.
they said no. They didn't want to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
They said no. Mm-mm.
But thank
America,
you.
yeah. That's why America, the only thing we have at our disposal is the military. That's why they put $1 trillion. Because they only it's a fear tactic.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
why they put so much into that's the only thing America have is their strong military. That's it.
yeah, and he's tearing up the military and taking away veterans benefits. Because when people ask me now, I tell them I say don't join the military. I say wait till he's not president and see what happens.
Yeah,
because I don't want you to go into something where
because I
some
even
could be a war crime, and instead of anybody who actually did something get in trouble, they just gonna put the little people, the E4s, and everybody in jail just to make it look good to other countries that we did something. But they won't put the responsibility on the real people who did it. It's always on the lower people.
yeah, and also too with it, they said even I remember when I was in the military, and they said President Obama is bad for the military. He didn't do a good job for the. Is that true? That he didn't do a good
Uh,
job for the veterans and military and
and
people?
the best president who did the most for the military, I have to say, be Biden, because George Bush, because I served under Bush, Biden, Obama, and Trump. And yeah, I will say who actually did the most for the veterans would be Joe Biden. And he had a son that was in the military. I do think, even though Bush, he had people that was in the military, his father was in the military and
Father
he
was,
was too.
father was.
He did he George Bush put a lot of programs and stuff to get people to enlist. So he started making it more family friendly and more school benefits in the post 9/11 GI Bill. So that was really great. But as far as Obama, I mean, he did do some things, but he wasn't killing it like Trump, because Trump just takes everything away. But I would say in my time, Biden was the best as far as veterans go.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Well, thank you, public, YouTubers, viewers, producers. Like I saw what they said. My husband was active duty. He was not a Obama supporter. He served 3 tours in Desert Storm, and this was the rub. What's that say? Rub for him with Obama. Okay.
Um, Bush was president when Desert Storm was going on. Obama wasn't president during Desert Storm.
Yeah. No,
That was
Bush
Bush.
was the
That was
first
Bush.
Bush.
That was the first Bush. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Desert
He was,
Storm. Yeah.
and then George Bush he started Operation Iraqi Freedom, and then the war in Afghanistan, and then that continued on to when Obama was president, Biden, and Trump.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
That's
Well.
right about the Cubans. They have been sitting in the dark. Not only that about the Cubans, but the Cuban doctors got kicked out of Mexico and other countries because Trump has been putting pressure on them to get the Cubans out, the Cuban doctors.
And
So
I
now
heard the
these
Cuban
people are
doctors
losing
are
their health
really
care.
good.
Yeah. And so now these people are having problems. So yeah, it's not just the Cubans are horrifically suffering under Trump. He needs to go to prison for war crimes, because there's just unnecessary cruelty.
Yeah. Well, thank you so very much for calling in and giving your point of view. And
Thank you,
we
Wiley, for having me.
thank you. Thank y'all so very much for tuning into the Wiley Show. We will be back tomorrow with some more news that you can use. Thank y'all so very much. And we will see y'all soon. Little black boy, you beautiful. Little black girl, you are enough. When times call, always remember to put that first. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.